Conspiracies and health complaints dominated the discussion today as a new prosecution began against an already convicted assassin, the man who killed Melissa and Mark Hortman and tried to kill Yvette, Hope, and Senator John Hoffman, admitted in federal court he did it to damage Democrats and help Republicans. Vance Boelter made his first court appearance today on first-degree murder charges in Hennepin County. Fox 9's Corin Hoggard is live at the courthouse. Corin, it sounds like he was much more talkative in court today.
Yeah, Randy, a couple of weeks ago at his sentencing in federal court, he barely had anything to say. He said one sentence. It was an apology. He said he was sorry to the people who he hurt, but he didn't even bother to look at the people who he hurt. Today, he was extremely talkative about conspiracies, about his health, about his religious freedoms. He was essentially in a box in the courtroom today, and the judge assigned him a public defender who talked to him pretty extensively and then argued against the Hennepin County Attorney's Office position that the assassin should stay here in Hennepin County as this case makes its way forward. Now, the assassin said his health problems in Sherburne County had to do with being in solitary confinement. He said he lost 36 pounds in 49 days and claimed he also had vertigo and bloody stools, all of that while he was in solitary confinement in Sherburne County's jail. He said it all cleared up when he got moved to the general population. But since he's come here to Hennepin County to face these charges, he's been in the jail here and he's been in solitary confinement. And so he's asking to change that. He also claims that he hasn't been able to talk face to face with a pastor or a priest, which is violating his religious freedoms. And he hasn't had that opportunity since he was arrested last June. Now, the judge, Juan Hoyos, did not rule on any of this because really nothing's actually been filed in these arguments that the assassin's trying to make.
So I know that the Hortmans and the Hoffmans were there in court today, Corin. Did they have anything to say after hearing the comments from him?
Yeah, not really. You know, they talked extensively. They gave victim impact statements at the federal sentencing just a couple of weeks ago. This one, brand new case. They're going to let it play out. But I did talk to a civil attorney for the Hoffmans who said, you know, essentially this is something that they support. They want to see the state prosecution go forward because this is a chance for state prosecutors to vindicate people in Minnesota and to protect their lawmakers. Matt Forsgren actually told me that, quote, today is the next step to ensure accountability. The state has an obligation, just as the federal government, to hold him accountable.
Interesting to know, too, that the federal case ended with a couple consecutive life sentences for the assassin. A lot of people at home would go, well, case closed. He's never getting out of prison, right? So what is the point other than it, you know, it's the prosecutorial regimen that we like here in Minnesota. What is the point of prosecution at this point? Because there's been that chatter, as you know, Corin, about it takes a pardon off the table, something that really sounds outlandish to most people, but it's on there.
Right. I think that that is something that prosecutors may be concerned about, and I did ask that specifically to Forsgren. He really didn't want to engage in any kind of discussion about the possibility of a presidential pardon in a case like this. He said it would be disgusting and just unthinkable. In fact, he told me that, you know, a pardon would be just as depraved as the acts that the assassin committed himself. Now, that is something, though, that a state prosecution would protect against, and we'll see where this goes. For now, they are waiting for the next court hearing. There wasn't even a plea entered today. That will presumably happen at the next court hearing, which is at the beginning of September. For now, also, he will be kept right here in Hennepin County, although that could change because the prosecution and defense will exchange written arguments with the judge, and so he could rule on whether the assassin should stay here in Hennepin County or be kept at Sherburne County, except for the days when he is supposed to appear in court. Now, if there is a conviction in this case, the maximum punishment would be just kind of like the federal one. It would be life in prison without the possibility of parole.
All right, Corin Hoggard. Appreciate it. Thank you.